Rise and shine. It's Monday morning. I'm George Davis, and it's time for us to get motivated. We have made it to the month of September here in this blessed year, and this month we're talking about identifying good leaders. How do we identify good leaders? Last month, as we talked about putting our calendars together, I ended part of the month there just talking about two of the most important functions of any pastor is communicating, but also recognizing and developing leaders around you. So how do we recognize leaders? Well, I want to start by reading a passage of scripture from Matthew chapter 9 that every time I read this, it blows me away to see just how simple the process was for Jesus picking one of his leaders by the name of Matthew. Verse 9 of Matthew chapter 9, it says, as Jesus passed on from there, he saw a man named Matthew sitting at the tax office. And he said to him, follow me. So he arose and followed him. Every time I read that, it blows my mind because we don't get any sense that they had this long-standing relationship before. We don't get the sense that he stopped and vetted him or took him through a 9-hour interview, even though those things are important to do. But there's also this element of learning how to recognize a true, valuable leader around you and understanding the process and the importance of grabbing that leader and helping to develop that leader. So I want to just recognize that we've got to learn how to identify valuable people that are around us. I think all of us as leaders have valuable people around us all the time. Some we know well, some we don't know that well, some we just bump into and meet. But God places valuable people around us, and like a person in a coal mine or somebody digging for gold, we got to learn how to recognize value when we see it, and then figure out the right way and the right process to bring that person close enough so we can help to develop them and maybe even have them be a part of our team at some point. So I want to talk over these next several weeks about the different types of valuable people that we see in our lives. And the first one I want to talk about is those that have potential value. When you look at them, and there's not a whole lot to them right now, you don't necessarily see that they got a lot that they can contribute to your team at the moment, but you can just see potential in them. When I look at my life, that's what Bishop Butler did for me. When I was a 21-year-old kid going to Bible school, graduating at 23, I didn't have a whole lot to offer, didn't have a bunch of ministry experience, didn't have a whole lot that I could bring to the table that moment, but he saw enough potential in me that he was willing to take a chance and bring me close, help to grow me up and develop me so that I could walk out the purpose and call of God for my life. And as I look at my life today, I think he was right, that there was some potential on the inside. And I think all of us have to make sure we're paying attention, that we're not just looking at the bright shining stars, those that have already accomplished things, but learning how to recognize when we see genuine potential in somebody. And one of the hallmarks of a good leader is to see that potential, recognize that potential, and then allow God to give you wisdom to help develop that potential so you get a chance to be around to see that person walk out the fullness of what God has for their life. So pay attention to the potential around you. Pay attention to those diamonds in the rough around you. Pay attention to those potential gold mines sitting right there in your midst that just need you to recognize that value and then let God use you to develop that value. We'll see you next week for some more tips on finding good leaders.